What's good, folks? Welcome to the SCL Gauntlet stage number 2 and final stage. We've only got that many teams. My name's Tom. That guy's Aggro, otherwise known as Ryan, and we're going to break it down. So we just saw Kingdom completely, well, they really took care of Versace. And with that in mind, they're going to go on, and now we'll see them versus Elevate, which should be a little bit more even.
Yeah, I mean, you know, Challenger Cup team, Kingdom was looking a lot better towards the end of the SCL Online stage. They were taking games off of top SCL teams, so no real surprise to see how well they performed up against Versace. But you're right, this game against Elevate, this whole set, is going to be really interesting. I mean, keep in mind, this is it. I mean, whoever wins this best of 3, whoever wins the next, the first team to win 2 games comes to land next, not this upcoming weekend, but the weekend after that.
Exactly, and we're going to see the SCL folks really battle it out here as far as that's concerned. Elevate and Kingdom, like we said, coming out here. We'll head to picks and bans right away. Game 1, best of 3. First pick will be on the left side of the screen. We'll figure that out in just a moment. And there it is. It's Team Elevate. They got the first pick. Oh, I'm not used to being on screen for the picks and bans again.
Yeah, here we are. Now everyone gets to look at us.
I can't, you know, eat my trail mix and stuff like that.
No trail mix today.
There's also no background music. I don't know. Everything's a little bit wonky.
No, we don't need any. Dude, I'll make the background music. You do the picks and bans.
All right, here we go.
All right.
So the first band coming out for Team Elevate, they've got the first selection here. Kingdom will be able to follow it up. Knowing how these teams really activate, Kingdom prefers, I don't know, Zachsy really likes that Chronos, doesn't he?
He really does. Yeah, he really does like the Chronos. It's his signature god. We saw him play it in the first game. My background music cut out there. Sorry, I got a little thrown off. But yeah, so Chronos is definitely one of Zachsy's strongest gods. But Keegs also likes to play it in the Hunter role. Keegs, really known for his dual play, likes to play a lot of 1v1 joust. So Chronos a top pick in that. So Keegs very comfortable on it.
Yeah, real talk, when you look at the roster for Kingdom, Zachsy is one of the scarier players. So honestly, even though Keegs does like to play it, I think it's, if you're not going to first pick it, I think it's time that you just ban it. Terra's going to be banned out. Kingdom spending a long time thinking about what they're going to take out. It'll be the Vulcan, a little bit scared of what Truancii is going to be able to bring, I guess.
Truancii on this Vulcan, it's his signature god. That's the god that he does the best on consistently. So I like the ban coming out of Kingdom. In the second slot, as second pick, you don't always get that luxury of having a throwaway ban, but because Elevate ban away Terra themselves, you are able to do something like ban away a comfort pick like Vulcan.
Arlongshan, incredibly powerful, considered by some to be the best god in the game. He'll be banned out by Team Elevate. There's a lot of control there, multiple positions he can play as well, so bringing ambiguity to the pick and ban phase, certainly something you want to get rid of. It's
just, we saw how good Camping Solo was on this Arlongshan jungle in that last set. Just so strong, brings so much control, damage, CC. He's got some sustain in his kit as well. He's got a lot going for him.
Exactly, and the Ratatasker, certainly a character that is all over the place, will be banned out. But Team Elevate, we're going to see Truancii play on that Zeus this time around. Just a lot of damage coming out of Truancii. Hopefully his team can protect him well enough.
That's always the big question when it comes to Zeus. How well can your team protect him? How well can he position and keep himself away from the damage that the other team is going to be bringing to him? Because if he can survive, he's going to win you the game. It's just not as easy said.
So in just, 2 games and a third here in our second best of 3, we've seen more Odin than the PC players brought in 4 weeks of their own land situation. Odin a little bit more valued here.
Just being able to lock everyone in, especially just the way the console meta works, it's just a comfort pick for so many players, for so many different teams, that it's really no surprise. I love the Nemesis pick early on here for Camping Solo. He's really good at rotating around the map and making his presence known, and Nemesis is really good with that as well.
So the Bacchus here by Team Elevate, they've taken it away from Kingdom. You don't want to give that Bacchus-Nemesis combination up, but at the same time, not a lot of peel in Bacchus's kit inherently, so that Zeus is still a question mark. Luckily in the jungle will be the Thor, so they'll have some options there.
Very surprised that we see Rippin go for this Bacchus. I mean, Rippin's known for his Kepri, which synergizes very well with the vulnerability of Zeus. You can kind of, not worry about it as much because you just throw the Scarab's Blessing on him and bring him back to you. And Rippin's Kepri is really, really strong. very surprised to see him go for the Bacchus here.
And it's a complete opposite playstyle swap,
Yes.
right? Khepri more of the Guardian type player, whereas Bacchus is that attack style Guardian, so kind of different there. Hebo gonna be banned out. We saw how well he did last round on the guys on Kingdom Esports. Vamana gonna be banned as well, next to 2 Hunter selections, Jingwei and the magical Hunter Freya, and that'll leave Kingdom with Soul for the mid lane.
This is Coviii's god. Just like Vulcan for Truancii, it's the same way for Soul and Coviii. This is the god that he's the most comfortable on. The Hebo ban definitely targeted at Coviii as well, and he's comfortable on that, but I would rather see him on Hebo than Soul. It's a lot easier to kill a Hebo than it is to kill a Soul.
Absolutely. The tier will be going into the solo lane most likely, and Elevate have one more selection. It'll be the Hunter. Who works well against Chronos, in your opinion?
I like Freya. Freya does a pretty decent job, though it's really like the other way around for a lot of players. But personally, I know Keegs doesn't mind that matchup so much. I love the Neith pick here.
Do you?
Yeah, Keegs can be the hyper carry, and we've seen him be the hyper carry a lot, but he's very good on Neith as well. He's very comfortable, and it allows him to do what he wants to do in the early game. And this is going to be him trying to get a roll going over top of Zachsy. He's going to try and establish a lead early on in that duo lane, and then use his lead with that World Weaver to kind of transition it to the other lanes quickly.
For me, I'm looking on the other side of things. Neith will just be another protective force for Zeus, and really allow him to do whatever he wants while sort of keeping him safe at the same time. Global presence out of the Athena for Kingdom, likely to see her in the support role, and Odin will make the transition over to the short lane, solo lane style. So Nemesis will be the jungler of choice with the Chronos and the Soul. Kingdom Esports versus Elevate, game 1 of a BO3. We see Jumpahhh right there in the jungle, trying to get a little bit aggressive, and he'll be spotted out by Camp and Solo.
Jumpahhh very comfortable on the store as well. Basically, all of Elevate are on gods that they play a whole lot of outside of Bacchus on Rippin, like we mentioned earlier. Not particularly familiar with Mr. McWafflez god pool. He's a new addition to this Elevate roster. No Niquid here for them. Not quite sure why, but gonna go with this is a god that Nick would like to play a lot, but we'll see if Mr. McWafflez can do the same.
Yeah, you know, I'm pretty surprised about that. I think Niquid had a pretty big impact on this squad, so it must have been one of those behind-the-scenes issues, which don't discount them. You know, poor attitudes and people just not getting along certainly will rip the team to shreds. Not accusing anybody of anything. I don't know nothing about that situation, but like I said, he's good, so it's weird for him not to be there.
Are you saying that Rippin holes rip the team apart?
Oh my God! It's the game. Minions haven't even spawned yet.
That was your fault, dude.
Don't do this to me.
That was your fault. I couldn't. You really expect me to pass that one up?
I wish you just didn't show up.
Well, I think we can all agree on that.
There's no. I was expecting a Truancii joke there.
Oh,
was that too complex for you?
No, yeah,
bro?
I wasn't there on that one. I could only see what's directly in front of me here, F-Dot. I'm not trying to decipher any codes.
It's just vocabulary.
Yeah, he knows that.
In any event. Mid lane matchup, Soul versus Zeus. Soul, pretty much her entire game is known for clearing the wave. Zeus, on the other hand, not so much.
He can clear the wave, but he can also deal out a lot of damage, a little bit of both. Coviiii, definitely, like I mentioned, this is the god that he's most comfortable on, so I'm assuming that he'll be doing the damage early on as well. We saw him pick up the first blood in that last set up against Versace, so you got to be very careful when going up against this Soul.
At the same time, you also got to be very careful when you start evaluating players against teams that are much below their own player level. I'm not saying that Kingdom is the #1 team in the world, but the team that just went up against, no disrespect to Versace, certainly not on the same level. I think Elevate and Kingdom a little bit more evenly matched here, so this should be a little bit more honest of a competition, I'd say.
I would definitely agree with that. Like I mentioned, with Kingdom looking better towards the end of the online split, I think taking a game off of Aware, the 3rd seed in North America, to then go up against the Challenger Cup team, just not quite at the same level as teams like Aware and Kingdom.
Dual lane being pretty active here. You know, it's so interesting when you see the Neith and the Bacchus lane, because I feel like those characters are pretty much the opposite of each other. Neith is quintessentially a passive character. I mean, of course, you can play her aggressive. We also saw Vedium from the PC side of things, Group D this weekend, be very successful on her. But in general, she sort of fires and forgets and sits there in the lane and waits to ult somebody across the way, where Bacchus, on the other hand, is, hey, my cooldown's up, I'm gonna jump in and see what happens.
But they work well together in the laning phase early, because if Rippin is able to find a belly flop straight into the Spirit Arrow, that's a ton of damage, and you're gonna be in place for a long time. Roots and knockups, both the two types of CC that are not affected by diminishing returns. So you're going to be standing there for exactly how long the tooltip says you're going to be standing there.
Yeah, exactly. So very strong control coming out from those two characters. On the other hand, our 2v2 in the mid lane, you've got the Zeus and the Thor. Like I said, Thor with a ton of CC to really protect the Zeus, whereas you've got Nemesis and Soul, not too much CC on that side of things.
No, not a whole lot whatsoever, but here's the ultimate coming out. The lightning storm comes down, but Coviii's able to secure the first blood before Truancii can pull the trucker horn.
And just gets him with a fight right on back. 1 for 1 there in the mid lane, and it's both the junglers. Easy aggression coming out from Elevate.
Definitely favors Kingdom, though, with the first blood going over to Coviiii and the assist for camping solo. That puts them a little bit farther ahead. Both ultimates now down in the middle lane, so not as much kill potential on that Soul as there is on Zeus. Soul really relies on that supernova to get her kills, but Zeus doesn't really need it quite as much. But getting that first blood traded out for the kill onto your junglers, like you mentioned, trading them out, definitely favors Kingdom because of that first blood bounty onto Soul.
At the same time, you know, Soul, that's just going to even her up with the Zeus, which sounds positive, but it's actually really negative because of what we were talking about as far as the wave clear is concerned. Soul is supposed to have a lead on Zeus. I mean, with this matchup, you're expecting Zeus to be down a couple of 100 gold, and unfortunately, it's kind of the opposite, and the first blood bounty just sort of evens things out for the guys on Kingdom.
I mean, ever since the change to Zeus to give him the second ability, the shield toss, it definitely buffed his wave clear significantly.
Oh,
as far as level 1 wave clear goes, Zeus is almost the best in the game. It's only Raijin that's a little bit better than him in the mid lane. Anyone else you can really contest very well with Zeus early on because of that shield toss. So I'm not too surprised to see Zeus being right there with Soul, because it does take a couple of levels in that stellar burst for it to full clear the wave.
So Kingdom here, pretty much all tied up. Great plays going on in the mid lane. What's their next maneuver?
Kingdom, probably to rotate yoyoabc over and really abuse Truancii on this Zeus. He's so immobile. There's no Phantom to help him out getting out of that Odin cage. If you can trap Zeus in that Odin cage and then drop the supernova onto him, Nemesis ult him, and really burst him down quickly, it could be really good for you. But Truancii has to understand that that's the game plan. Is him getting caged is the game plan for Kingdom. And what you do is you don't necessarily, it's not like you're on the same team as the Odin. You don't drop the Zeus ultimate on top of yourself. What you do is you actually put it half and half. You put half in the Odin cage and then half on the outside where the other teammates are hitting you from to zone them out. You kind of create a Venn diagram with it and force the other team to not be able to come in and hit you. You can really bait yourself into some great fights in the jungle because the Odin cage is going to make it difficult for the other team to maneuver as well, and you can really position that ultimate to block them off.
And at the same time, Yo-Yo actually has to make the rotation. You know, Odin is a character that's very potent at a particular part of the game and kind of, let's say, forgettable in some other parts. As the game gets later and later, Odin just becomes less and less relevant, and really with the boots and the bluestone pendant finished, you're looking for pretty much right now, and maybe with a second item. This is really where Zeus hits his stride. After that, other characters sort of supersede him as far as how powerful he really becomes. And then of course at level 12, you've got the Phantom, for what it's worth. Phantom's only activatable for 1 out of every 2 or 3 Odin rings, but still, certainly a thought.
Yeah, once you hit level 12, exactly, you got to be worried about that. Keegs going a little bit aggressive there. He had the Jumpahhh hanging out in the area just in case he was able to poke Zachsy out. But you're right, as soon as Odin starts to get some items online, that's when you're going to want to see him coming over.
Well, the beads have already been used. KeegsMate in trouble, and he's not going to make it under tower. He knows it as well. Camping solo, camping Hunter lane this time. Gets the kill. Brief assist coming out from the support. 1 by 1 players come in. Thor by himself. Dunks down on top of 3, but here's the rotation of Elevate. Big ultimate coming out. And there it is, slammed down, but Troubled Zeus is already toasted. One last hit'll do it, but nobody can find it. Scratch that. He's still raw, and he's good. Just a little bit unhealthy.
Rippin holes, nice intoxicate to keep the rest of Kingdom at bay as they're trying to chase down Truancii. Now Mr. McWafflez has made the rotation. Good Fearless onto McSaltyCakes, getting very low, is able to find it thanks to the taunt auto. Gonna jump out of the Odin cage. Yo-Yo can't follow in. World Weaver just gonna tickle the solo lane Odin.
So good rotations, good secondary rotations, I'd say. I think Zeus walked in a little bit too soon. Truancii didn't pay for it, like we said. He got out despite what I had originally thought, and his rotation was questionable. But I think the follow-up rotation from his teammates was certainly very good. And Kingdom, they were able to go ahead and follow up themselves and pick up a Gold Fury.
Now up about 1,300 gold, and that Gold Fury brought to you by the Wrath, picked up by yoyoabc, going for the Divios style here in the solo lane. Not worried about the teleport. He was there at the same time as Mr. McWafflez, who did have the teleport available to him. But instead of using that relic, he goes for the Wrath, and it opens up the Gold Fury for Kingdom, puts them in a good spot right now.
So KeegsMate here on the Neith. He's staying even as far as the levels are concerned with the Chronos, but a couple of hundred gold down. Chronos, of course, has the 26 stacks on the Doom Orb, and meanwhile, Neith has the stacks on the Transcendent. So both of these hard carries really going for the hard carry build.
Neith could, the Vedium build that we saw over the weekend kind of came out of nowhere for me. We haven't seen a Neith go for a more traditional hunter, Ichabod, Devourers, Gauntlets, crit build in quite some time. Keegs instead going for this raw power build. He wants to do a little bit of hybrid action, do a little bit of more damage with his abilities from the Transcendence, as well as doing damage with the autos.
Big poke coming out from the tier player originally, and Thor's going to join the party. Taken to the sky will be Thor, but judging from the back off out of tier, I expect Jumpahhh to do exactly what he did and play it defensively.
Love the cage immediately there from Yo-Yo. Really predicting the teleport in from Jumpahhh, forcing him to use the ult immediately. He could have decided to try and trade out, but it would have been close either way, so he takes a smarter decision, uses the Anvil of Dawn to just get out of danger.
And right there, it's enough damage to send yoyoabc at least back to base. Yo-Yo's going to clear this wave, and then, well, he doesn't have the teleport, so he'll have to hoof it, unfortunately for him.
There's the downside of going for the Wrath early on. If you get poked out in lane, if you see Jumpahhh coming over here and continuing to put some pressure onto this solo lane, it could build Mr. McWafflez a fairly significant lead. And you can see, even despite the Gold Fury that went the way of Kingdom, it's Mr. McWafflez that has the gold lead. It's because he's able to play aggressively, not worry about the poke that Yo-Yo is going to be able to give him, and then force Yo-Yo to back and make him lose multiple creeps under tower.
So right now, we're almost at 10 minutes and 4 kills, 2 across the board for each team. And Cam Solo looking to make that 5-3 for his team. Ultimate going to come out onto Keegs as soon as he backflips likely. There it is. No more escape options for the Neith. The double dash comes out as well as a couple of basics.
The creeps!
Oh my, come on. He just gets body blocked by the minions! Oh boy. There are many more players on Team Elevate right there.
Yo, Keegs looks like went into that minion wave and slipped them all 5 and was like, yo, help a brother out, dude. I'm in trouble right now. They're like, I got you, man. They just body block Camping Solo, loses the kill opportunity. I like the idea, though, from Camping Solo. Hold that thought, actually. Jumpahhh comes dunking down in the duo lane. Camping Solo still here. Spirit Arrow off the mark. The flop in from Rippin holes is good to poke out Zachsy a little bit, but actually it's going to be enough to kill him. McSaltyCakes comes dunking down and finishes off Jumpahhh.
It's a good taunt coming out as well. Not going to be able to fall into any follow-up damage, but here comes Coviiii from the mid lane by himself in the wrong spot, protected by Athena. Well done by the support player.
Mr. McWafflez has made the rotation. Early beads there from Coviiii. The Lawbringer way off the mark, though. Stellar Burst is going to finish off KeegsMate. Mr. McWafflez finally finds the soul in the jungle, but he is able to trade out.
Truancii on the retreat. Good plays across the board again. 2 for 2, answered back immediately. Both of these teams are going to be able to find the quick answer back kills, as we've seen. Here comes Tier one more time, and again, this is exactly how the last fight went on. Tier showed up way after the fact and just was able to find a pickoff kill. This time it's on yoyoabc. Finds his first death of the game.
Just staying way too long in that duo lane. Basically, the entirety of Kingdom stays too long. Camping Solo stays too long. They get Thor dunked. Zachsy gets killed because of it, and then it just kind of continues to fall apart from there. Coviiii comes in with a late rotation and played it a little bit awkwardly, jukes the Lawbringer from Mr. McWafflez, but he's still able to find him in the jungle at the end of that sort of engagement. You can see the player damage right now coming out from Elevate is just really, really high across the board. Zeus, you expect him to be at the top at this stage in the game.
For sure.
At 11.5 minutes, dealing out 6,000 damage. This is what Zeus does best. Damage and a lot of it. And then Keegs also doing a good job of really pushing the pace of that duo lane. But what I was about to say before that engagement happened was that I like the idea from Camping Solo to really spend a ton of time in this duo lane. Keegs is always going to want to box you. Like I mentioned, he plays a lot of 1v1 duel. He likes to play the lane like a 1v1 duel, and so you can really abuse that by rotating your jungler over early and often. And that's typical camping solo. His name is a complete lie, by the way. He is always in the duo lane.
And it's worked out so far. But unfortunately for camping solo, you know, the Neith matchup for Nemesis is fantastic for Nemesis, but we've seen him drop the kill a couple of times. It's just a little bit unfortunate. Like to see him put his nose to the grindstone a little bit harder. Right now, Thor's going to take to the sky, looking for an engagement, likely over here on the players that are rotating towards mid. Solo's going to join as well. McWafflez almost gets a kill by himself. It's 1v4. Meanwhile, Jumpahhh on the left side somehow does something to Zachsy.
Zachsy just was trying to come in. He assumed that the engagement was going to be in the middle lane as well, but really it was just a bait. They kill the Chronos. Mr. McWafflez zones out 4, and now the Gold Fury getting started up by Elevate.
It's going to be leashed out, though, as Kingdom starts to filter in here towards the left-hand side. Elevate now getting aggressive. Kingdom getting aggressive as well. Athena, there's nobody to follow up. Beautiful wall through the wall. And Truancii going to pick that one up and get the kill.
Great taunt, but who cares? There's no one there. I mean, you're not the damage dealer there, McSaltyCakes. Got to wait for your team.
Exactly.
Coviiii had gone back towards the mid lane. Yeah, Yo-Yo was kind of close, but if he jumps in, then you just both die, basically. So definitely not the opportunity to go in for the taunt. McSaltyCakes disagrees and eats his second death of the game.
That's a little bit rough. Kingdom Esports here early on in the game, 13:25 on the clock. They need to start grouping up mentally, not necessarily physically in the game. Rippin Hall's going to get ripped to shreds there in the mid lane. Mr. McSaltyCakes, the damage dealer that time, aggro, gets the last hit. And over here in the mid lane still, damage is being dealt to Truancii. Nowhere to go for the Zeus.
Great.
No
Chain
help
lightning
until McWafflez shows up. That'll go in the toaster. And Coviiii gets one for himself as well, putting Truancii down. Double tap for the jump man as yoyoabc falls down. And McWafflez on the retreat. The wall there just to support his teammate. And the two players from Elevate get out safely. It's 9-6.
Love the decision from Truancii to just turn and fight. Turn and box. You're never going to run away as Zeus. You just got to kill the opposition. He gets a great chain lightning off on 2 targets, followed up by a beautiful fearless there from Mr. McWafflez, who's had a great game thus far. Sitting at 3-0-3, second on the damage charts now. 2-level lead onto yoyoabc and 900 gold on top of that.
Yeah, Mr. McWafflez is the player that's doing it for me, and this is the tier play. It's interesting. We have one tier player in the SPL, I think, pretty much is Variety. Dimmy has a strong tier, but he rarely brings it out. And Variety plays this offensive tier, right? We always see these offensive tiers. Even when Chapo was playing over in the solo lane, he played an offensive tier.
Transcendence, boys.
Exactly, right? But right here, we're seeing Mr. McWafflez play this support style tier. He's got obviously the support items online with the CDR out of the breastplate, but what he's doing, he's not looking for the setup into the damage plays. He's peeling so hard on this tier, and it's really helping his teammates out.
He's peeling, he's zoning, he's moving people around, and he's cleaning up. And that's exactly what you want out of your solo laner. Even if they aren't building the damage items, just because of the sheer base damage they have on all of their abilities, because of the levels they'll be getting from the solo lane, you can do a lot of damage, and that's exactly what Mr. McWafflez has been doing. I also really like the defensive build coming out of Truancii right now on this Zeus, going for the Clow build, if you will. The boots, the Dynasty Plate helm, and the winged blade. Zeus is going to be doing damage whether you build defense or offense. I mean, that's all he does. That's what Zeus is there for. So giving yourself some extra survivability, being able to stay in the fights a little bit longer, it allows you to position a little bit easier with the extra movement speed coming out of the winged blade. Plus, there's a lot of slows on the side of Kingdom. I mean, Nemesis, all slows. Coviiii on with the Stellar Burst on Soul, big slow. You got the slow from McSaltyCakes on Athena's dash, and the slow from yoyoabc on the 3 as well.
I mean, for me, that's all well and good. If I see a Nemesis and I am a just fish out of water like Zeus is when he's pushed up in a lane, I'm buying a wing blade. It's just necessary itemization against a Nemesis.
Basically, yeah, I don't disagree with you.
Oh man, I love yoyoabc. The Mist Fearless, the instant taunt. The instant taunt.
The problem is that he's the hog for the rest of Kingdom, and while they're doing this, Elevate's going to get the Gold Fury. Jumpahhh getting very low. Missed taunt, but Zachsy doesn't mind. He's going to clean up the jungler.
One's fine. 1 death for a Gold Fury, I'll take it. Elevate take the gold, and that'll push them a little bit in the lead, about 1,000 or so. Kingdom Esports now grouping up for the mid lane take. It's 4-on-5 here on the tier 1 tower, and Kingdom certainly want to make the push. There's the taunt. It's going to grab 2, and then jump in from the rest of the team. Can't find the damage just yet. McWafflez pushes him to the back, and ABC suffers.
Camping Solo has to get out here. No Zeus ultimate available, but Mr. McWafflez is just so healthy right now. Level 17, Coviiii still pushing up, trying to get this tower, but he seems to be the only one on that page for Kingdom. The rest all backing up. Elevate are able to disengage. They end up trading a 1-for-1 with the Gold Fury, definitely in their favor.
All right, so KeegsMate now taking the battle on his soul. Probably not the best idea since he's been incredibly inaccurate this game. I think we've seen more Spirit Arrows missed than actually hit. I've seen KeegsMate on a number of other gods, but rarely see him on this Neith. How often does Keegs actually bring out the Neith?
It's been fairly often during this online stage. You started to favor it a little bit more, going for the more supporty style of Hunter here. Keegs has always been known as a hot and cold player. You know, this might just not be his game.
True.
There are games where he'll hit literally every axe, every Spirit Arrow, every whatever the hell he's playing. And then there are days where it's just not his day.
McWafflez gets caught in the ring, but is able to front flip out against the Lawbringer. Not a big deal for him whatsoever. yoyoabc successfully defending his tower for the moment. Camping Solo's going to come over and bring a friend Athena. There's the ultimate onto McWafflez. It's 1v3. No ultimate available. Jump over the wall. Jumping on top is the Odin. Likely to fall down. No way Waffles gets out of this one. He's just a couple more hits away. Heal is going to be good. Walking towards the tower, still being surrounded. A couple of support players come through, but yoyoabc finally takes down the Waffle Man.
10 years later, they pick up the kill in the solo lane. Zachsy gets dove underneath his tower, but a perfect rewind going to immune multiple ultimates there from the side of Elevate. Truancii still has the Lightning Storm, so they haven't used everything. Coviiii makes the rotation in just to support his Hunter in case, but is able to be able to farm up the boars.
They're just really looking for the in-case play there. Gold Fury not around, so Elevate, don't know what you're doing here. Heavy rotation to the left side of the map. Purification going to be chased out of Jumpahhh. Oh, that's rough. Big taunt coming out from Kingdom.
Plus, with Jumpahhh going for Wrath as a second relic here to try and contest the Wrath coming out of Yo-Yo, this means that he's got no defensive options, no Sanctuary, no nothing. If he gets taunted by McSaltyCakes again, he's going to be in trouble.
Almost 20 minutes on the clock here. 18 kills. With Elevate owning 10 of them with the Nemesis ultimate. Kingdom looking to push their 8 to a number 9. But at least they're going to get the tower here. Tier 1 falls. It'll be 500 gold in the pockets of Kingdom.
Both teams looking very good here right now. Here comes McWafflez actually blinking in, misses that Fearless. Of course, he has to do that as soon as I'm talking about how well they're both playing. But these teams both playing very calculated Smite right now. You see the Gold Fury pull whenever you got the Wrath on the right side of the map. The grouping whenever ultimates and relics are down. I like the play coming out of both teams.
Just understanding the sort of the finer points here. McWafflez leading the charge. Elevate want to get a tier 1 tower as well. Nice belly flop right into the Fearless, separating the soul from the rest of the team, while Jumpahhh just obliterates McSaltyCakes. This Athena is just a little bit too aggressive.
Camping Solo forced to back very low. They got the mid tower in earlier on, Kingdom, but now they lose their own. Elevate pick off McSaltyCakes, his third death, and respond with a tier 1 tower of their own.
So here's actually a question that I want to ask, is that clearly something's going wrong with the McSaltyCakes initiation, and it's very easy to point fingers at the support player because it's just what it looks like. But when it comes down to it, Aggro, is it McSaltyCakes being too aggressive without his teammates, or is his teammates just being a little bit too timid?
Well, in that case, I would say that was McSaltyCakes being too aggressive. In that specific instance in the mid tower, you see McWafflez going to the back line, Rippin holes, jumps over your head to knock up Coviiii. There's no way that he's going to be able to follow up because he's got his own problems to deal with right now. So going for that taunt really should have been turning around and taunting him off of the mid laner. By the Gold Fury, you could make the argument that Coviiii should have been there, as well as possibly Zachsy. I can't recall exactly where he was during that engagement. You could have made the argument that that was his team not being in the right position to follow up, but it's always no one. Whenever you go in for the taunt and your team isn't there, yes, people should have been there, but it was still your decision at the end to dash in and make the taunt. And that's me being a bias. You know, I'm never in the wrong position. I'm a mid laner. Support should support me and do nothing else. But you make the final call. You have to take all the information in. You A, B, C, and D, and then E is your decision. And if your decision is dash taunt and there's no one above you, and that should have been steps A through D, you made the wrong decision.
I'll agree with that to a certain extent, but Kingdom also, teams have to understand the playstyles of their own teammates, right? If your jungler is the type to dive Phoenixes, you got to be aware of that. And as a mid laner, maybe you play more Giannis, right? And here for Kingdom, this Athena, McSaltyCakes, he's very aggressive. He's going to be looking for those taunts. And if I'm Kingdom, I have to have that in mind. You have to not only play Smite, but you have to play your team's brand of Smite. And by ignoring what your team excels at or wants to do, that can come and bite you in the butt. When you look at some of the teams that have been successful, both on console and on PC, you see these teams that sort of embrace the individuality. You look at Eager, honestly, on both sides, and they understand that, hey man, if we let Jelly play Sylvanas, even though he's not meta, we're going to win because Jelly can play that character. And then Eager on the PC side of things have been, they've been saying screw the meta for years now. It's about understanding your team identity, combining that with quote-unquote traditional Smite, and that's when you find your own brand, and that's how you become successful.
I definitely agree with that. Just being on the same page as a team is more important than really just about anything else in the game. I mean, obviously everyone's got to be able to push their buttons, but working together as a team is what really separates the top tier from the middle tier. And you can also really abuse that if you know someone isn't going to be on the same page. You could see Elevate group up and bait McSaltyCakes in for taunts if they know the team isn't ready to follow up, because he'll do it. If he sees the big grouping, he's going to go in whether his team's there or not.
And that's one of the reasons that I'm so against quick, rash decisions when it comes to team changes. Wow. Nice bait coming out from Jumpahhh. Brings Nemesis all the way down south just to meet the rest of his team. Elevate, left side, still a lot of aggression. Good taunt to bring out the Berserker's Barrage, but a better cage to lock him on in. Zeus drops the ultimate. Unfortunately, doesn't get much damage off of that, but the solo lane tier absolutely does. Coviiii gets the first kill of the engagement, while KeegsMate answers back, taking down camp in solo.
McSaltyCakes dropping very low. Detonate not quite enough damage, but the Lawbringer will catch him. McWafflez gets his 5th kill. He's not done yet either. Double Fearless underneath the tower. Train Lightning's good, puts a lot of damage out with the detonate. The rest of Kingdom is so low right now.
Tier 1 tower's low as well, so Elevate gonna take it to the cleaners. Gonna crumble here. 500 gold in the pockets of Team Elevate. We're able to push Kingdom just a little bit far away, take out the tower, and the gold lead has belonged to them for a while now, and it's going to get pushed further. 3,000, or just about over it, is the gold of Team Elevate. They're going to push it further with an attempt of the Gold Fury, but Kingdom knocks on the door, and everybody will run.
With the teleport coming in big there for yoyoabc, he gets to the Gold Fury to stop the rest of Elevate from doing it, and just him being there is enough of a threat to stop Elevate from trying to grab that Gold Fury, because he does have that Wrath. Elevate doesn't know that Wrath isn't up right now, and because their Wrath in Jumpahhh was down, there was no way they were going to be able to get that Gold Fury staring at that Odin. Even the Bird Bomb is enough burst to really make it difficult for Elevate to secure it, as well as the Wrath on top of that. Even if they don't know it, it's enough of a threat to make them stop.
Yeah, I mean, you have to be aware of the multiple. That's what makes Smite so difficult, honestly. Shooting your stuff and hitting your buttons is, unfortunately, that has to be so beyond it, right? You just have to play that level easily. But being aware of everything that's going on the map, that's really the task. That's the tough.
It's competitive Smite it's one of the most fun things about competitive Smite as a whole, is the fact that there's so much to it. It's not as, it's not running around and shooting your guns and, oh, we'll just kill them when they come, and that's all there is to it. There's a whole lot of strategy involved, not only during the game, but before the game as well. Picks and bans, then in a set like this, dissecting what went wrong, trying to figure it out, changing your picks and bans to do that, and then actually executing in game. It's such a deep, deep game.
And because of that, Team Elevate certainly have that in their wheelhouse. They're up just about 3,000, maybe give or take. And the Kingdom Esports are looking how to respond. Right now, they're going to respond by, well, heading back to base. And Team Elevate has to look for their next opportunity. This is it, in all honesty. Go for the Gold Fury, and they completely understand that.
Odin coming in from the right side, but I don't know if he'll get here in time with that Wrath. McSaltyCakes knows this is happening. There's the Lightning Storm coming down from Zeus. Jumpahhh is the Wrath here. He cannot be anywhere near the gold. He has to be near the Gold Fury. It is Elevate that get it, but at what cost?
Well, right now, nothing. It's free at the moment. And it looks like Elevate are the ones that are going to push things forward, staying aggressive on the top side, but Kingdom Esports have made their rotation down to the bottom side. That Spirit Arrow is going to count. KeegsMate gets 2 rooted with a bunch of damage. And he lines up the ultimate, but unfortunately, he stands still for too long, and camping solos, camping Keegs.
Mr. McWafflez doing his best to get away right now. Doesn't have the ultimate available. He's in the middle of the entirety of Kingdom, basically. There's the taunt, get a taunt him back in, but that passive 3-man Fearless into the wall gets him out for now.
3. Wow, what a big play, and still keeping up with the defensive tier. Able to just shut those players down and not make sure that they do not make a big impact. Unfortunately, Kingdom is still here. They're healthy, and that's the problem.
Athena does back and does not have the ultimate available, so very confused why McSaltyCakes chooses to back there. Zachsy and Coviiii gonna do their best to get this middle tier 2 tower. Rippin's gonna jump into all 4. Camping solo makes him pay, evens up that kill death. 3, 3, and 8 now for the jungler.
Jumpahh's got to do something there, and this is what I'm talking about. That was a bad call, objectively, for Rippin Holtz to jump in there. But at the same time, Jumpahhh has to look to provide some sort of, okay, my teammate jumped in when he shouldn't have. Who could I stun? Who could I double tap maybe, right? These are the options that Jumpahhh had at his disposal. Even the ultimate's online for the Thor. I would have liked to see Thor support the teammate in the moment of bad decision making. That to me is really sort of the key.
He did throw the wall out. He did try to use the double tap, but unless he teleports in and and has to full commit, he probably dies there as well.
Yeah, no, that's true.
I think that one is mostly on Rippin, sitting at 1, 2, and 6. Level 16, though, he's got a ton of farm online for that Bacchus, sitting a little bit ahead of the Athena in damage, as you'd like to see from your aggressive support, like you mentioned. Not quite the same style as Coviiii. Still Zeus on top of the damage charts, and Keegs right behind him, literally right behind him. I mean, just not even 100 damage.
And that was all recently too. I mean, in the lane, Keegs was relatively unsuccessful, and then we saw him boxing with Soul a little bit in the mid lane, still staying unsuccessful. But in these past couple of team fights, we've really seen these Spirit Arrows hit multiple players, really make the impact, and that's going to be a big deal.
Athena ultimate, it looks like they're going for Truancii in the mid lane. He's trying to get out as best he can. World Weaver just trying to help him out. It looks like Jumpahhh actually went up into the sky as well. They were trying to peel for that Zeus, exactly like we were talking about. That's what you've got to do, but you burn the Athena ultimate and get 2 in return. Both Thor and Neith ults are now down.
Well, 28 minutes on the clock. The Fire Giant certainly going to be thought about. Jumping forward is going to be the guys from Kingdom. Down comes the ring out of yoyoabc. Coviiii able to take out his direct opposition in the mid lane, and trouble for the Yo-Yo man. He's going to jump back. KeegsMate being chased down. 2 players chasing on that Neith. A couple of hits are going to do it. No more escape options, and KeegsMate, he's down.
Coviiii gets his second kill of the game, 7-1 right now. He's been doing work on this Soul. He surpasses his enemy mid laner, and now the rest of Kingdom going for the Phoenix. Mr. McWafflez forced a Lawbringer over the wall just to put himself in the right position to try and defend.
And this one looks like it's all Kingdom as far as this push is concerned, despite the fact that Elevate has played a great game up until this point. Elevate has had the lead, and Kingdom are snatching it away, taking the first Firebird of the game.
Really abusing the Zeus right now. Speaking of abuse, Zachsy in the wrong spot, forced to use Purification and the Rewind. It looks like he still wants to fight right now, but the rest of Kingdom, again, not quite on the same page.
Yeah, man, listen, speaking of some of the more successful players that we've had, it's always the same thing. 5 players following the objectively wrong call is better than 2 halves of your team following different calls, one of which is the correct call. If you have 4 players, let's say in a game of Smite, because I believe that there is rarely a situation where there is a black and white right and wrong call. Let's entertain the idea that we're in one of those situations.
Sure.
4 players following the correct call and 1 guy doing what he thinks, 4 players following the wrong call. And 1 guy following what he thinks is right is going to be worse than 5 players following the wrong call.
Completely agree. You see it all the time in teams. Actually, it looks like Rippin Holds is going for the right call to flop on the camping solo. Mr. McWafflez going aggressive with the Lawbringer. Going to split the uprights, though. Doesn't find anyone.
Not going to find anybody with the Fearless. Can't ratchet him too much, though. His impact in this game has been incredibly high. Pretty much the main reason why Elevate was able to get off to a good stride in that mid game. Just incredible peel coming out from Mr. McWafflez. But here at Kingdom Esports, this is 100%. I'll tell you exactly where it's coming from. It's Zachsy. Look at where Chronos is on the player damage right now. Keep that in mind. That's going to be a lot higher. In fact, he might be number 1 as the game goes on. this is where Chronos sort of hits a stride. You see his itemization, all the stacks. He bought that Ratatouille. And once he bought that Ratatouille, Ryan, that's when we saw Zachsy really make the push.
And he's been making a big push. He was the one who was able to clean up Mr. McWafflez earlier on during that tier 2 tower push.
Exactly.
He's going to be able to do a lot, but it's really been Coviiii thus far, sitting on top 7-1. He's been the one who's able to follow up off of these Odin cages and really punish Truancii.
And I think this is where the handoff comes from. KeegsMate lining up an ultimate along with his jungler. Tower's already down. Jumpahhh comes down for the attack, and the stun is good on the Coviiii. That's what everybody on Elevator are looking for. But Coviii's going to be safe on the backside. Different story for Camping Solo. Rarely, he's in trouble. Throws up the shield, chased down, and the Berserker's Barrage just barely not enough. KeegsMate has to clean it up with a basic.
Big taunt there, but again, no one to follow up. The rest of the team is all on Truancii. Coviiii finally finds him, but KeegsMate is here, and he is healthy. He picks up 3 here, 4 dead on the side of Kingdom. Only yoyoabc still remains, no cage either.
Great team fight from Team Elevate. What was the key there for you?
Just the rest of Kingdom diving too deep. It was 2 separate calls. McSaltyCakes wasn't onto Truancii. yoyoabc is focusing a little bit too much on this enemy mid laner. Plus, the fact that Coviiii and Zachsy were both grouped up, they both get hit by multiple ticks of that lightning storm. Yes, they're able to use Sanctuary, but it still was, they got too low.
Fire Giant's going to go the way of Team Elevate, despite Yoyo's best attempts. And as I say every single time, I'm okay with that play. You always have to go for it, especially when the game is so close here. 2,000 gold, almost 3,000 separating the teams. I respect the call from Yoyo to jump in there.
Oh, hell yeah. I mean, you buy Wrath for a reason, dude. You're there to make plays.
I regularly honestly make fun of the players that jump in 1v5 thinking there's some sort of anime character or something. But when you're going for the Fire Giant, it's okay to act like a cartoon. Jump in there because that Fire Giant will enable Elevate to turn this one around. Kingdom had the push. They took out that mid Phoenix. They were able to really take away the lead. But now Elevate with that Fire Giant, they're going to be able to make a big play.
All right, F-Dot, you're role playing now. You're in your own anime. What are you yelling as you're jumping into Fire Giant 1v5 to steal it with Wrath?
I don't really watch too many cartoons. I
No,
mean,
but this is yours. It doesn't matter what you watch.
my favorite anime is probably Scooby-Doo, so I mean, maybe Scooby-Dooby-Doo?
That's a good dog.
That's a great dog, man. For real,
you would say Scooby-Doo.
Dude, Scooby-Doo, a pup named Scooby-Doo, Scooby-Doo and Scrappy-Doo.
Yeah, Scooby and Scrappy. That was a good one. What was the one that always had guests, like guest stars?
Well, that was the Mystery Adventures of Scooby-Doo. That's when one of my favorite episodes was when they met up with the Harlem Globetrotters.
Dude, that episode was amazing.
Because before that you had like the Addams Family and all these things that sort of made sense, and then it was, hey, we're the Harlem Globetrotters, and you're like, what is that about? And that's exactly how I feel about this team fight. Kingdom Esports jumping into this situation. Elevate, have the Fire Giant. You're being a little bit aggressive, but if you're able to split them up, that's the right call. KeegsMate gets isolated, and Zachsy smacks him down. Trouble for everybody as Zeus drops the ultimate, but Kingdom are zoned out. And there's Camping Solo. That's a way to get around it. Athena's going to ult onto the jungler. Wonderful play, but Mr. McWafflez still looking spicy. The rest of Kingdom Esports groups on up, and they're going to be able to deter Elevate from pushing even further.
Truancii now just trying to trade into Camping Solo. Wall's going to help him out a little bit. Detonate, Jumpahhh picks up Camping Solo. Coviiii finds the enemy mid laner yet again. Zachsy here. He's put the gas pedal on. Jumpahhh finished off by Coviiii. Double kill for Soul, and the rest of Kingdom is storming down this left-hand lane.
This one turned around quicker than my mom going to Disney World. Everybody's in trouble with an Elevate tag above their head. Kingdom Esports getting very aggressive, able to get the tier 2 tower, and that was just I don't even want to say that was a poor team fight from Elevate. Kingdom did a great job of isolating the individual characters and making sure that Elevate weren't able to group up and take the fight.
Great cage from Yoyo. Exactly, does exactly that. Separates the rest of the team from KeegsMate. No one can go and help their hunter, but Keegs just ran the wrong way, man. I mean, that's okay. So going into team fights, when you're a mid and you're a hunter, there's always going to be some communication, or you just should know, and you don't even have to say it, that you want to be on opposite sides of this team fight. You cannot both get hit by big abilities. That's how you lose team fights. That's how Kingdom lost it on the right-hand side. Both Coviiii and Zachsy get hit by the same abilities. So Keegs and Truancii do the right thing. They split up. Keegs on the left, Truancii on the right. But then when things start going south, Truancii goes in the jungle, and Keegs is the only one to stay on the wall, to go down the lane. Kingdom do a great job of recognizing that, pick him off, and win the team fight from there.
And Truancii did try to do what he could. He dropped his ultimate in between the lane and the jungle, and that prevented 3 players from really joining the team fight. But unfortunately, that ultimate doesn't last forever. And as soon as it went down, everybody came through. The floodgates opened, and Elevate, well, they just weren't able to.
You heard like the ramp up from Chronos, and he could just come swinging out of the jungle.
Let's go.
I was hoping you would do that.
Let's go.
Just like swinging.
I wish people could see this. Like, not even. Like, I get it. I know how Chronos
That's exactly
works.
how Chronos looks, dude. He's just like he looks like he rides a horse. He really does.
See, that's what I'm saying. Like, I know how Chronos looks when he attacks, and he looks really dope. Right now, you kind of look like Miley Cyrus on a pony. You're just like, yippee yo. That's aggro right now. Yippee yo!
Well, here comes Camping Solo around the back. Yippee! He finds Keegs all by himself, forces the Sanctuary. There's the Supernova coming down from Coviiii just to zone out the rest of Elevate, but they're defending this tier 2 tower well.
Yeah, I mean, it's still very healthy, 90% or more. KeegsMate battling the jungler on the backside. See, Nemesis is trying to make the flanks that Tier makes, and she doesn't have that kind of impact. If Tier wraps around the corner, he's going to have a 3-man fearless. If Nemesis wraps around the corner, she gets to slow somebody.
Nemesis, can we not do back camps while the rest of the team is fighting underneath the tier 2 tower?
Yeah, I'm sorry about that.
Come on, bro. Now Yo-Yo tries to lazy back. Mr. McWafflez, thanks to the sprint, is going to catch up. Jumpahhh comes crashing down, but can't find anything on a McSaltyCakes. Finds a spin to win, eventually hog stuns Coviiii just to get himself out of danger.
Jump, man. That's actually a great play. The hog stun right there. If we don't see the stun out of the Thor, I think maybe he falls right there to the hand of the soul. When he's able to go and get away, jumping on top of the Waffle Man. There's a spin. It's going to slow him down just a little bit, but Yo-Yo locks him in, and he'll jump out.
That's definitely worth it for Kingdom, though. Forcing that longer cooldown in the Lawbringer. This does mean that Yo-Yo not going to be able to cage in Truancii as his plan seems to be, but it will make Mr. McWafflez much more vulnerable on that tier.
Well, we have the Odin player with the Wrath available, so Kingdom going to start this Fire Giant, half HP. Fire Giant about to be leashed, so he won't really be involved too much.
Just fighting for ward coverage right now. It's exactly what you do, but Truancii backing right now. If Kingdom spot that out, this opens up a window for them, as well as Bacchus. I mean, those are multiple members of Elevate who aren't going to be here to contest this Fire Giant. Plus, knowing that the Wrath is down on the side of Thor should really open this up for Kingdom.
Theoretically.
Oh boy.
That's what I'm going to say about that one. Looking how Elevate are responding, they're kind of just handing it to him. KeegsMate just gets walked on right there. The rest of Elevate going to rotate over here to the right side of the map, and Kingdom, unfortunately, they look like they're just ready to go. This is so interesting to me, right? I want you to break this down. Elevate have pretty much had the gold lead this entire game, but for the majority, I feel like Kingdom has the momentum.
Well, it looks like they have the momentum right now, but Zachsy comes around the back immediately, gets fearless, doesn't get the rewind off. Truancii is able to kill him with the detonate. Camping Solo really wants his mid laner. Yo-Yo's going to find him, but without Zachsy, their push is going to be significantly hurt.
That was a fight that was going Kingdom's way until a perfect Sanctuary out of Truancii. He was able to negate the damage, and that allowed him to go ahead and pull the detonate and get the kills, but Coviii's still biting. 3 players down in Elevate jerseys. McWafflez and Rippin holds the only one available. They're not exactly your damage dealers, but McWafflez going to do his best impression, pushes Coviiii out the way. Tier 2 tower goes down. 1,500 gold in the pockets of Kingdom Esports. That's going to bring this game close to a tie, and Kingdom will back to base to spend their money.
So you were asking about how Elevate has the gold lead during this entire game, but it's really been Kingdom with the momentum, and that's because they've been able to find the early picks in the team fights. During the early game, it was Mr. McWafflez who was coming in and cleaning up late in the team fight, but now the last few fights that have gone Kingdom's way, it's been because Keegs in particular has been alone by himself during that last fight. He's the only one in lane. He gets dove onto the tier 2 tower. The rest of the team's in the jungle. He's nowhere near the rest of his team, and so whenever you're able to pick off the enemy hunter like that, even if you're fighting into a gold deficit, it doesn't matter because it's a 5v4 and you've got the power play. You can really dictate what you want to do in that fight.
I think you also got to start to look at the draft and notice some of the changes. Kingdom going to get aggressive as well. Nice ultimate out of the Nemesis. Camping Solo doing pretty good job today. And KeegsMate, one more time, the first one to go down. 5-7-7. He's going to suffer 7 deaths, unfortunately, so far. Camp and Solo still looking to be aggressive, but up to the sky goes the jungler, right on top of 2, and Jumpahhh gets 2 kills.
Truancii still trying to run away from the rest of Kingdom. Camping Solo the only one to fall thus far on the side of Kingdom. Now Jumpahhh getting chased down by Zachsy. Bulwark of Hope. Shoutouts to the magical protection, saving his life there with the shield as well as the additional health. But the rest of Kingdom is just going to be looking at this middle Phoenix. And their tower push is insane. Soul and Chronos, two of the best at pushing down the Phoenix. No, okay, they cannot end right now. There's no way.
I mean, honestly, they have enough damage. They have a bunch of damage. You know, I said that Jumpahhh had 2 kills. I bet you he wished he has 2 kills. Because if he actually had 2 kills instead of 1, I think you wouldn't have seen that Phoenix go down. Because Kingdom have 4 players instead of 3, they're really able to make that push.
The hesitation there really costs Kingdom that right side Phoenix.
Absolutely.
It's a couple steps into the Titan room, a little bit of indecision, and then, oh, no, let's just go for the Phoenix. But by that time, Jumpahhh and McWafflez are both healthy. They're able to get up out of the base and defend that right side Phoenix.
I mean, what's it take? If you're down to 10% HP, it takes probably like 3 seconds in the fountain to really heal up. That 3 seconds is enough to really take down a Phoenix when you have Chronos and Soul.
Without a doubt. Both of them with Obsidian Shard. But in fact, Chronos now finishing off Spear of Desolation, so he's got more than enough penetration to shred through those objectives.
I'm loving this Chronos build as well. Built just like a pure mage. A lot of players start to mix in the Telkine's rings and the Demo grip. I don't find those offensive. I actually like the Demo grip on Chronos, but I love just how much power he has, his ability to stand in the back line and just drop spells, and then mid-team fight, once 1 or 2 players have already gone down, he activates the Accelerate. It's really working out.
It's just about getting that Polynomicon proc, basically, spreading out your abilities with your auto attacks. Nice double Fearless there onto both carries from Mr. McWafflez, but it's really no one from Elevate able to follow up whatsoever.
Yeah, Kingdom doing a good job of zoning players off of this objective. Still not going for it themselves, however. Elevate here in separation. Rippin by himself, level 19. Relatively tanky, obviously, playing the Bacchus.
So one of the problems with having both Soul and Chronos is that you don't really have anyone that can safely tank up the Fire Giant. Neither of these characters are physical hunters, so they don't have any physical lifesteal, which means that it's going to be harder for them to tank up and really try and bait the rest of Elevate in. At
the same time, sometimes you see Chronos activated in his first quadrant to give himself some sustain and then go for it. Big double tap onto the Chronos. He's going to need that first quadrant, but he gets off the ultimate instead. Full heal for him. Truancii able to make the opposite happen onto the Odin. Now Truancii trying to find an exit. Very low HP for him. KeegsMate saves the mid lane, taking down the camp and Solo. That's a jungler. And the rest of Elevate able to respond. Big bang coming out. 2 players down.
What do you know? When Elevate fights together, they're winning the team fights. Truancii's done a great job of just keeping himself alive as long as possible. He's been juking for his life basically this entire game, and he's done a great job of it. That time, Keegs with the team is able to make a big impact, able to pick up multiple kills there for Kingdom.
Well, so
for Elevate.
That's really the key here, is when Elevate have a team composition here. And so when they're isolated, all of a sudden you break it down 1v1. And you look at, well, Chronos is just going to scale better into the late game than the Neith, and you know the Soul is going to work out very, very well as well, and all these other characters, with the exception of maybe yoyoabc, late game they're just a little bit more powerful. You know, I'm specifically looking at Zachsy and Coviiii. Well, the problem is Elevate, they have a team composition, and so when Keegs is able to help out for Truancii, you know, the head bone is connected to the neck bone. It all comes together to the one big body, and Elevate really able to make these team fights count. Unfortunately for them, it's taken them 40 minutes to really understand that.
Well, they do have the Fire Giant on 5 members right now. They are sitting in a good spot. They have to defend this middle Phoenix from the fire waves that are still going to be coming in for a little bit longer, but they do have the middle Phoenix for Kingdom exposed, so this opens up a good opportunity for them to push it down and really trade out Phoenixes.
Absolutely.
Coviiii must not like me very much because he's gone Bancroft. He still has Bancroft's talent at 45 minutes into the game when he's got a Chronos on his team.
Yeah.
Like, I guess that, you know, giving your Chronos and Athena an extra 30 magical power and trading out a passive that's not going to be relevant at this point in the game doesn't really matter to him.
You're really on that pie.
I hate Bancroft's talent, man. I hate it.
I love Bancroft's talent.
Why?
It's one of my favorite items.
Why?
It's purple, and it looks like you can drink out of it.
How do I come back to that?
That's what I'm saying.
You can't drink out of Pythax piece.
Exactly. That's what I'm saying.
It looks more like a necklace.
Yeah. I don't want a necklace.
I mean, Bancroft's talent is supposed to be a necklace, right?
I guess.
But it's a necklace you could drink out of.
Yeah, that's what I'm saying.
You could, like, take that to a sporting event, throw some extra drink in there.
You could put a red pot in it.
You could put a red pot in it.
Yeah,
or it would be a purple pot. because they're magical.
Okay, let me explain this. Red pot is a catch-all term for power potion.
No, it's not. Red pot is the physical power potion, and purple pot is the magical power potion.
You
Look, F dot. Back in the beginning of season 3, when I was buying purple pot every game because I'm a mid laner, and that's what you had to do. Never once did I say, "Am I getting a red pot here?"
Why not?
It was, "I'm getting a purple pot." Purple pot. It's a great alliteration too.
Sure.
Purple pot.
I'll give that one to you.
Purple pot.
It sounds like you're saying Pol Pot right now. Shout out to the Dead Kennedys. Elevate trying to make the Dead Kingdom Esports happen. The left side, 1,500 gold on the way. And there it goes. Tier 2 tower falling down. 47 minutes on the clock and a 3,000 gold lead for Team Elevate. They're looking to take game 1 of what could be a 3-game series.
But gold, completely irrelevant at this point in the game. Kills, irrelevant. Everything is irrelevant, basically, except for the fact that there is one more tower for Kingdom on the map that's not going to last for too much longer. This Fire Giant for Elevate going to allow them to strip that off the way, which is going to make the Titans, each Titan basically equally vulnerable. Yes, the middle Phoenix for Elevate has fallen before, so it is half health. Not going to be quite as strong, but I expect that we'll see at least one down Phoenix before this Fire Giant expires for Elevate.
Elevate making the rotation here to the mid lane, waiting for their opportunity. Rippin holes is most likely going to lead the charge. I love Truancii's positioning here, keeping himself out of harm's way for the moment until Team Elevate will go all in.
He's got to be careful, though. Camping Solo loves the loop around the backside. We've seen a lot during this game, and if he's by himself in that jungle while the rest of his team pushes forward, he could get picked off very easily. 4-on-1
split push. You can see Thor by himself on the left side. You're going to see this sort of pronged attack happen from Elevate. Camping Solo completely irrelevant in this fight. He's on the right side.
Not just looking for that flank, but it's not going to work out. Two-man taunt underneath the Phoenix, but it's on the two incorrect targets, the two tankiest for the Elevate. The Tier and the Bacchus not going to get a whole lot of damage off that taunt.
And that's by design. You can see the positioning out of Elevate, really. Obviously, they put their front line in the front line. Camping Solo trying to make the flank. Going to be handled by the Tier.
Guess he thought that Tier wouldn't use Fearless there, but I don't know why. Mr. McWafflez tanks up that stellar burst.
Push.
He's looking for the mid-Phoenix. Truancii hitting it. Here comes Camping Solo around the back, looking at Keegs. Immediately gets rooted. Supernova coming down. Coviiii trying to trade out, but he is deep.
And nice little backflip coming out from the Neith player, and Jumpahhh able to take down Coviiii. Jumping in the back line is going to be yoyoabc. Try to make that Odin count in the late game, but it's hard to do. Zachsy, on the other hand, makes the Chronos count in the late game. Not so difficult, and down goes the opposition.
Couple members from Kingdom do have to go back to the Fountain Heal. Camping Solo and Yo-Yo, both pretty poked out. No Phoenix is taken down quite yet. Keegs still got zoned out from that push earlier.
And there's going to be a push out of the Tier, pushing the wrong player into the right spot. Mr. McSaltyCakes goes a little bit deep. There's a jump forward from yoyoabc. Still chasing down on a KeegsMate. Good wall coming out of the jungler, and that's going to be a big play. KeegsMate in trouble. Taunt coming out from Athena, and there's the ring. Camping Solo takes down KeegsMate.
Now it's going to be Jumpahhh just trying to find the support. McSaltyCakes going to get out while he can. Good defense there from Kingdom. Able to keep all of Elevate off of their Phoenixes. No Phoenix falls. Truancii and Keegs both do. Coviiii went pretty deep there. A little bit too deep. Got picked off early on, but it was Zachsy coming up big under the Phoenix.
And we're going to have a pause here. But right now, we're pretty much even. I think that both these teams have commanded the game at some point in time, but now sitting here at the end, I mean, these team fights are just going back and forth.
Really back and forth. This whole game has been really back and forth, like you mentioned. This Fire Giant should be falling off of Elevate soon. Both teams have a semi-weakened Phoenix, though by the time Fire Giant respawns, Kingdoms is going to be completely healthy. It's only going to be Elevate that has that half-health Phoenix in the middle lane, so it's anybody's game right now. If you had to give a slight edge, it's to Kingdom, like 51 to 49, but it's really up in the air.
Yeah, I mean, right now I've just been really impressed with Zachsy on the Chronos, and I think that he might be the tool that could just carry the game. I think at one point, at any particular team fight, if Zachsy winds up with a double kill, his team wins the game.
Yeah, I mean, if you could trade out 2 for 1 at this point, you're sitting in a really good spot. And for me, it's been Zachsy and Coviiii. I mean, Coviiii with 13 kills. He's on top of the player damage charts. Zachsy not far behind him, only 6,000 down. And 6,000 is very doable in one team fight for a Chronos at 50 minutes.
Absolutely. And that's really what I was talking about, earlier in the match. Look for the Chronos to really make the jump up here. Zachsy has been powerful. He's been accurate. He's been on point. 6, 4, and 9. especially with his itemization. He's swinging like a hammer.
Double Fearless there on to Camping Solo. Camping Solo does not have any purification, but here comes the cage from yoyoabc. Jumpahhh gets the Nemesis ult, gonna go up into the air. Mantle of Discord gets him out. Truancii drops the Lightning Storm in the cage, just enough to force everyone out. Camping Solo left alone though, he's gonna be the first to fall.
Truancii gets credit for that one. Big plays out of the Zeus man. Almost positive here.
Zeus Man.
Zeus man?
My friends say Zeus Man all the time.
Yeah?
We call each other Zeus Man.
Why?
Z-Man. It's a long story that's really not fit for broadcast, but you just, like, I just got so excited when you said Zeus Man.
I saw it. That's why I stopped. You, like, waved your hand.
I'm like, yes, dude,
Like
Zeus Man.
dude.
So we've got Zeus Man Senior, and there's Zeus Man Junior, and of course, I mean, Zeus Man the Third.
You need Zeus man the third.
Z-Man 3.
And right now, nice stun out of the Neith, but really of no consequence. That Bolly flop, on the other hand, certainly of consequence. Coviii's going to get protected by the Athena, but it just ain't enough. Jumpahhh goes ahead and gets the kill. It's 2 dead on the side of Kingdom Esports. Is that enough to make the final push?
75 seconds on the respawn timer for Coviiii. So unfortunate that Sanctuary was 1 second away from being up, but just not quite in time. Truancii gets taunted in, but the Phoenix under siege here from KeegsMate.
ABC getting pushed. He's complete. Oh, the jump man does not make the shot. No stun onto Yo-Yo. That one's going to work out of Thor. It's going to send the Odin back to base. Mid Phoenix falls down. Left Phoenix on the same situation. Down it goes. Elevate get 2 Phoenixes, and they're going to retreat.
Camping Solo has respawn, so it forces Elevate to back up that Nemesis ult. Just a little bit too much to worry about. Plus the fact that Elevate had no minions pushing into the Titan room. If they've got minions there, they have another 10 seconds or so on Nemesis. They could probably look to end the game with the late game damage that they have, but now they've got 2 Phoenixes down. They're in a much better position to win this game.
So Camping Solo here, level 20, full build, doing back camps.
Yeah, he could be pushing out the middle wave here, but you don't know where the rest of Elevate are. You cannot get picked off again. That's the worst case scenario.
He really wants to get that purple pot.
You don't want to. No, he gets a red pot, Tom. He gets a red pot. Why, dude?
I
know. I get it, like physical purple, like
yeah, makes
PP.
sense.
No, it's physical gets a red pot. Magical gets purple.
Oh man.
Because Magical is buy Bancroft's talent and then drink the purple pot out of the purple item.
Makes sense. Team Elevate going to start the gold fury here.
Not a whole lot of damage. Jumpahhh is actually going to take a lot more damage than he's dealing. Fire Giant drops below 50%. The rest of Kingdom doesn't seem to really care about this objective, and they really shouldn't be contesting this right now.
No, absolutely not.
There's no reason to do so at 53 minutes.
And right now, well, Kingdom Esports are making the right call. I think a lot of people might say, why aren't you contesting? But Camping Solo, before I kind of like blasted him for being by himself, that time I actually respect it. He's pushing up the minions with the fire minions, so that for last time, we saw Team Elevate unable to finish because the minions weren't there. Now they're pushed all the way up there, you know, right by the tier 1 tower where it used to be. That's a good play by the Nemesis to push that lane up so far.
You want to delay the victory push as long as possible, basically, because what Elevate should really do here is push up these lanes by themselves. As you can see, Jumpahhh looking for it in the mid lane, but the fire minions really took care of their own work for him. He doesn't have to worry about it. But you're waiting to go onto this right Phoenix as to when the other waves are starting to enter the Titan room. You force Kingdom into a hard, in between a rock and a hard place, basically. If they chase you, then their Titan dies to minions, or they give up their Phoenix and can't really full commit as much.
Thor, mid lane by himself. The rest of Team Elevate grouped up here on the right side. Belly flop is going to be used offensively, and there comes the ring.
Zachsy forced to rewind. Nice timing on that. Doesn't get killed by that Zeus ultimate. Camping Solo forced back a little bit himself. Coming around the back now, looking for Truancii. Dunks down onto Coviiii. Is Jumpahhh going to have enough damage to finish him off by himself? No, but he does zone out Kingdom from defending this right Phoenix.
All 3 birds are down. Elevate only have 1 objective left. It's a Titan, but they've got to find the fight. Kingdom are a little bit too tanky, and they keep being able to retreat.
And no ultimates really on the side. Only the Lawbringer available for Mr. McWafflez. And here it is over the top, looking for Coviiii, but can't find him. Titan wailing away, does find Camping Solo, pushing him into the wall. Double dash gets him out of danger for now. yoyoabc and McSaltyCakes fighting in the front line. Cage separates the Zeus. Huge stellar burst coming down. Supernova as well. Keegs is very low.
If Kingdom Esports wipe this team, they can take the win for themselves. Players sit out for about 70 seconds. But Kingdom Esports played safe. They're not going to chase.
Wow. Coviiii really making big plays there with that Supernova crashing down really almost 100-0 Keegs there. Keegs just able to get out in time, but like you mentioned, hold that thought, Jumpahhh up into the air, sees McSaltyCakes all alone on his left-hand side, hits 4 with the taunt, but it doesn't matter, he's gonna fall.
Who's he taunting for? Who is he taunting for? There's nobody there. Now they're all going to go to the base the hard way. Team Elevate looking for the team fight here, trying to respond. Big basic attacks coming out against yoyoabc. Belly flop on top of stun. There's the flip over the top. Fearless into the Thor wall. See you later, Coviiii. Titans starting to come out and make it happen. But the guys from Elevate, they got one thing in their mind, bringing the W.
yoyoabc very low, gets back to base. Truancii kills him before he can get the fountain hit. Finally, at 55 minutes, Elevate get the first victory here in the Gauntlet, setting themselves up for a run at the group stage next weekend. Dude, it was 55 minutes. What do you want from me, man?
Sometimes.
What do you, come on, dude.
So
I'm just going to take a sip here, take a sip of water and recollect myself. You do you over there.
I think it's a little bit deceptive sometimes here. This is a team game, and every now and then I just like to leave Ryan out there. It's kind of fun. But unfortunately, I think that's what happened at Kingdom. A lot of times their players were just kind of left out there. I mean, we saw just Coviiii by himself a lot of times. It was working out great in the mid game, but then in the late game when everybody has all that damage, when you're by yourself, you're going to base by yourself.
Exactly. He wanted to make the same aggressive plays that he was making in the mid game, like you mentioned, but he had the burst damage at that point in the game, whereas the other team did not. He was not able to get killed by Keegs, by Jumpahhh, the characters like that. But he was so close to being able to kill Truancii a couple times, but a couple great sanctuaries buys the Zeus enough time for his teammates to come in and collapse in on Coviiii. And you're right, I think the overall positioning from Kingdom in the late game was just a little bit lacking.
Mr. McWafflez really drove this game home, if you ask me. The tier play today was outstanding, especially in that early to mid game, making sure his team could get through it.
Yeah, like I said, he came in and cleaned up, he peeled, he did everything you want him to there. He doesn't find the initial Fearless, but he's still zoning out the rest of the team from going on to Truancii. He's the one in the Odin cage, he's just doing his best, and here it is, the great double Fearless. Truancii falls, but it doesn't matter as Mr. McWafflez picks up camping solo and yoyoabc on the back end here.
And really, that was the key there, is all this other stuff is just icing on the cake for me. It's just the Fearless taking it away from his teammates. That play, we could have played maybe 4 or 5 others that were identical to it. Just somebody's in trouble, here comes Tier, and he just Fearless is 2, 3, 4 players away, and that was outstanding. That's what allowed his team to get through the game.
Plus, he's using that sock puppeteer skin, and it has that funny voice whenever he uses the Fearless, and it's even better that way. Like you get